U.S. Representative Jill Tokuda is back home in the islands to celebrate the 4th of July holiday. She joins us now live to talk about some of the things she's working on in Washington as well as here at home. Aloha and good morning, Representative.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So while you're back here, a big decision in the U.S. Supreme Court. They ruled that presidential immunity is granted for official acts, not unofficial acts. What are your thoughts on this and how it impacts checks and balances in Washington?
Well, you know, obviously, it was a surprise and yet it wasn't yesterday. I think this was a real blow to the checks and balance system that we have. It sent a really negative message to the public that while we always say no one is above the law, apparently in the eyes of this very conservative Supreme Court, the president himself is, or herself is. And I think that really is disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing when we talk about what is official and the fact that this, these official acts cannot be used as evidence in unofficial acts. It really sets us back in terms of really being able to hold everyone, absolutely everyone at the highest levels of government accountable for their actions.
Big things happening in Washington, D.C. Obviously, things happening back at home. What are you working on at home while you're back here?
Well, you know, it's a great thing. I was just in Hilo yesterday and was sitting and doing a talk story with health professionals there about access and how we really need to make sure we provide for a workforce in our most rural communities, and helped volunteer at the KHON2 for Keiki event over at UH Hilo. And, you know, as you mentioned, going to be doing 4th of July things. But before then, heading out to Maui, and we're going to be talking story about mental health concerns there on the island, as well as my Lahaina Heritage Act bill, which we had a hearing on last week. This really is to make sure that as we look at rebuilding, that we ground it in culture and history, what Lahaina was before pre-contact, historically, to make sure that that is preserved. We don't have a heritage area in Hawaii at all. There's only 62 across the country, and to make Lahaina the 63rd would really be something special. So talking story with Lino descendants and cultural practitioners on island tomorrow there as well, and going to talk with small businesses on the Maui community, and we'll be ending my weekend on Saturday at the Pineapple Festival in Lanai. So we're going to be jumping around a lot of planes this weekend to get across the district. Always
busy even when you get back home. I want to get back to the act with Lahaina a little bit. Do you think it has a chance of getting passed? And what do you think that this could do to preserve the history?
Absolutely. It is a process. So this bill actually is to just start that process and have the Department of Interior do this study to look at the feasibility of designating this area. As I've said, there's not that many across the country. I do think it has a very good shot of making it through. The fact that the bill was heard in committee, really appreciate Chair Tiffany, hearing this measure with just a few others last week. And so we're hoping to get it quickly into markup on the floor, get over the Senate, and let's hope we get this passed so we can start working on this designation.
Now, fitting for the 4th of July holiday, you are working on also naming a post office on the Big Island after a local Vietnam War hero. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, you know, recently, as you might recall, we had the Wall That Heals coming for its inaugural visit to Hawaii in Hilo. And that was a really special moment to be able to see so many families, loved ones, friends gathering. For some, the first time to be able to see and touch the name of their loved one on the wall. And that's where I was able to actually meet John's family, and we were able to talk about his story, the fact that he saved so many of his soldiers' lives right out there in Vietnam, throwing grenade after grenade to give them safe passage, to distract the enemy, to be able to call fire to himself and identify their locations. And, you know, the Kaihau family, excuse me, it's early in the morning, family just generously shared with me their memories and, you know, all the things that they've been doing for the community. And I felt it was high time. We haven't had a post office on Hawaii Island named to date for anyone. Oftentimes it's named after public officials or elected leaders. It's about time we had one named for a very proud local boy, Vietnam veteran, who literally sacrificed everything in defense of his country, made his family and community proud. So we're really looking forward to having that move forward as well.
Yeah, I have chicken skin thinking about visiting the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. It's just such an amazing thing to see all those names, right? It really stands out to you. And to honor our local veterans, it's just so important to honor them. And, you know, you see that name on the post office. Somebody might be able to look at the history and then learn about him as they go on.
Well, it's about the next generation looking at these names and understanding their stories. There's generations of heroes as well that were there with them, and from our islands too. So
All right, Representative Jill Tokuda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a great holiday. Hopefully you get some rest while you're back at home.
I definitely will.